Hey guys, my name is Larry and welcome to Military Stories. This week I'm going to be talking about basic training, how to survive basic training. 10 tips that I came up with that'll help you get through and make it to the end, no problem. I went through basic training twice, well, partially my second time, because I switched MOSs or jobs. I initially was in the Army Reserves as an MP, and then I switched to infantry and had to go through basic training again. So I've had some experience there, and I just wanted to give some tips to help you guys make it through. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell a time where I got in trouble in basic training and, still made it through, went on to have a good career. And so, it's not the end of the world if you get in trouble or get caught up in something. So if you're new here, please like the video, subscribe if you haven't. This is Military Stories. Each week I talk about military stories from my life, other people's lives, combat stories. I also give tips, advice, whether it's about weapons or about training or, like today, tips to get through basic training. And then each week I cut that up into a few short videos. So please like the video, subscribe if you haven't. All right, getting right into it. Tip number 1 to survive basic training is to keep your head down and don't stand out. So what this means is you just kind of want to blend in. You want to be one of the guys that you do what you're told. You're there for every task, every mission, every objective. You're there. You're doing what you're supposed to. But you don't stand out as like a guy that's fallen behind or a guy that's like a super exceeder. You just want to fall in the middle. I mean, do your best at all times, but you just want to do your best to just blend in. And if they don't know your name by, if they don't know you by name, that's good, because then they'll start to pick on you. All right, tip number 2, volunteer 50% of the time. So there's going to be a lot of times where they're going to need details. They're going to need volunteers. They're going to need guys that need help with something. So they're going to say, hey, I need 3 guys. And everybody's going to shoot their hand up. Either everybody's going to volunteer at once or nobody's going to volunteer at all. So you want to volunteer, like you want to be a guy that is going to help out and do extra duties and stuff, but just don't do it all the time, and be careful about which ones you choose for, because sometimes they could ask you to do something and your reward could be like you're going to get some extra chow after. Or sometimes they could ask you to do something, you're scrubbing floors for 2 hours and it's a crappy detail. So my suggestion is just pick and choose what you volunteer for. Don't do it all the time, but also do it sometimes so that you show that you're willing to participate, you're willing to help out, but don't be the overeager guy that does it every single time. Tip number 3, make friends. The people that you're going through with are going to be your battle buddies for the whole time you're there, and they could even follow to your duty station. One guy I served with followed me to my duty station and went all the way to Iraq with me. So we were together for years. So make friends, make battle buddies, help people out, and then they'll help you out. I mean, there could be times when, you're borrowing a buddy food or something, or you're hungry and he could help you out, or a time climbing over a wall and a buddy could help you out. So try to make friends and be friendly with people. Don't make enemies, because then, if you make enemies with certain people, then they're not going to help you out, and they might become buddies against you. So make friends, try to get along with everybody. Don't rat people out for stuff, unless it's like a safety hazard, obviously, but don't rat people out. Make friends, try to be nice to people, try to be a team player, and it's going to help you out in the long run. All right, tip number 4 would be to eat fast and don't drink anything but water in the chow hall. So when you go in the chow hall, it's going to be crazy. The chow hall is probably one of the craziest times in basic training, because when you go in, you're like in an orderly line going in. That's when all the drill sergeants are there in the chow hall. There's higher up leadership. They're watching everybody like a hawk. So you got to stay in line with your tray. You go down the line. They put stuff on your plate.
Let's go! This way! This way! Grab your plate! Grab your plate! Grab your plate! Put it in your hands! Sidestep! 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 All the way down! Go! Sidestep! Sidestep! To the wall! What's the game? What are you doing? What are you doing? All the way down! All the way down! All the way down!
and you sit at a table, and as soon as like the last person who sits down, you have like 2 minutes from the time he sits down that everybody's got to be finished eating. So make sure you scarf down your food as fast as humanly possible, because like once, like I said, the clock stops and they're like, whether you finished all your food or not, they're gonna make you get up and move out. And don't get anything but water unless they say otherwise. I think there's one point, if you make it to like a certain week, they say, all right, now you can have milk or something. But just don't do that before they say you can, because there were some guys that either had milk or they got something else in water out of the dispenser, and they got in big trouble. I remember one time a guy had milk, the drill sergeant jumped up on the table, ran and kicked his cup all the way down the table, and freaked out, started screaming at the guy. His meal was done, and he made him another battle buddy go with them, and he got smoked for a while. So make sure in the chow hall you eat as fast as possible and you only drink water. Tip number 5, don't speak unless spoken to. And this is something they're going to tell you, that you don't ever go up to a drill sergeant and ask a question. I mean, unless there's like an emergency, but you don't ever say, hey, drill sergeant, what are we doing later today? Or it's just, you don't ever speak unless spoken to. There was a time I went up, I wasn't sure where to sit one time in a chow hall, and I went up to what I thought was a drill sergeant just standing there, looked like a nice guy that I could ask a question. And it was actually like the first sergeant for basic training. And I didn't read that on his, he was in PTs, he had a PT vest, and it said like first sergeant right there. I didn't read it when I approached him, and he didn't even respond to me. And I asked him the question, stood there for a second, and I could like see the other drill instructors charging at me, and they just ripped me apart. Like you don't talk to anybody, any NCOs, higher leadership, or the drill sergeants unless spoken to, especially officers, commanders. You're going to learn when you're in that you give the greeting of the day to whoever you pass. That would be the only scenario, is if you're walking by somebody, you and a battle buddy, you're walking somewhere, you say the greeting of the day, good morning if it's morning, good afternoon, sergeant, or sir if it's an officer. So that, of course, is okay, but you don't go up to people asking questions or, anything else. Just don't speak unless spoken to. Tip number 6 would be, you don't need to be the best constantly, and leave room for growth. So when you get there, they're going to assess your PT, your physical fitness standards. They're going to assess how often you volunteer, how much of a team player you are. And, give 100% every day. Try your best. But you don't need to stand out for everything. Because if you're running a 5-minute mile and you're doing 100 push-ups, and then 2 weeks later you're tired from being there, and all of a sudden you're not putting out the same, then they're going to start questioning, hey, why isn't Joe running a 5-minute mile anymore? He was in the fast group, now he's in the medium group, because they put you in different groups of running. Or, hey, Joe used to volunteer every single thing, and now he doesn't volunteer anymore. So it's kind of like what I said before about like volunteer 50% of the time. Your effort should be 100%, try your hardest, but you don't have to be like the best at everything, because then you're not really leaving room for growth. So try your hardest, try to be the best, but you don't have to be first place for the ruck march, first place for the run. You don't have to push yourself to that limit. As long as you fall like in the middle, you're going to be perfect. You're not the last, you're not having eyeballs on you, and you're not the first expecting to be first always. Tip number 7, practice runs, push-ups, and sit-ups before you go. So when you go to basic training, you do not have to be a stellar athlete. They're going to put you into shape. It's different from like Ranger School or Special Forces Selection or Navy SEAL Buds. Those courses, you're expected to be in great shape when you get there. You have to be in great shape to even be able to go. Basic training, they're not expecting you to be in excellent tip-top shape when you get there. That's what basic training is for. They're going to mold you into that person.
We push them all the same because it's one team, one fight. We can't separate the ones that are in shape from the ones that aren't. So we try and have them help their battle buddies out and push them with them. It's a steady progression all together. It's a team effort, not solely individual, I can do this myself. There's no I in team, so they got to do it the right way.
So I would suggest do a couple runs, run a mile, make sure you can do like 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups. Other than that, they're going to build you up, they're going to build you up to be getting that kind of shape. So do some just to be familiar with those exercises, but you don't have to push yourself to be like a stellar athlete before you go. Just make sure you can at least, run, walk a mile. You don't even have to do 2 miles, because they're gonna move you up to that. They're gonna start with a mile, then they're gonna do a mile and a half, then they'll move you up to 2 miles. So you don't have to be a stellar athlete when you get there. Tip number 8, go to church. So the reason for this is on Sundays, a lot of times in the barracks on the weekends, there's a lot of cleaning, a lot of details. And so there's going to be a time on Sunday mornings we're like, hey, who wants to go to church? And so I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, so I say go to church for that because of your faith. But also, you can get out of some extra duties if you go to church. There's a group of guys that go to church, they march down to church, and you get to bring your Bible with you, whatever, and you sit in church for an hour, hour and a half. Sometimes they even have snacks. And then the guys that stay back, they're usually cleaning the barracks, cleaning the bathrooms, cleaning the stalls. So go to church. It's good to have your mind reset for a little bit, to think about something else other than training. And, you'll be able to get out of some details and stuff. So go to church when you're in basic training, I would suggest. Number 9, if you make a mistake, own it, okay? This is going to go into the very end where I'm telling a story from my basic training where I got in trouble. But if you do something wrong, just admit it. It's basic training. You're there to make mistakes. If you slip up doing something wrong, admit it. They're going to smoke you for a little bit. Then it'll be over with. If you I don't know. I can't really think of an exact example. But if you mess up on something, own up to it. And I'll tell that in my story, but just admit to your mistakes. You're not going to get kicked out or sent home for making a mistake. That's why you're there. It's basic training. You're there to make mistakes, to learn how to become a soldier. Tip number 10, have fun. I think a lot of people, they go through, they have their head down, they're trying as hard as they can. They think of it as like, this is a suck fest. This is horrible. I miss my home. But once you get in the military and you've gone through basic training and you go to your regular unit and you start training with your unit and you go on deployments, you're going to look back and say, man, basic training was like the easiest thing out of my whole career. That's how it was for me. I mean, I went through Ranger School, I went through deployments. Looking back at basic training, I'm like, man, that was cake. And it really is. I mean, they're not there to try and make you fail. I mean, the attrition rate of basic training is very low. There's very few people that don't make it through. They're trying to work with you on your fitness. They're going to work with you on your marksmanship. They're going to work with you the entire time to try and improve and make you a better soldier. So have fun. Think of it each day as an opportunity. You're getting paid to go shoot weapons. You're getting paid to train infantry tactics or whatever job you chose. You're getting paid to be a soldier and serve your country. So just remember to make the best of it. Make friends. Have fun. And so that you're going to look back later on in your career and be like, man, that was actually pretty fun. It wasn't that bad. So those are my 10 tips. And now I'm going to tell you a time when I got in trouble in basic training. It's kind of funny and it's a learning opportunity. So when I was in basic, your family can send you letters. They can send you care packages, right? So every day, at the end of each day, we'd gather in like a day room. I mean, a couple times a week. I don't think we did it every single day, but you'd gather in like a day room. We'd all sit on the floor and they would go over like the day's training and what we did that day and what's possibly coming up this next week. And so our family would send letters, packages, all that stuff, and we'd be able to get our mail. They'd call off your names and you'd be able to read your letters from home, from your parents, your girlfriend, whatever. And if you got a box of candy or food, they would make us throw all that away. So they're like, you're not having that candy, you're not having that beef jerky, go throw it in the garbage in the back of the room. And this is another thing for you family members sending care packages. If your kid went or something, probably don't want to send a ton of food because for us, they made us throw it all away. So it's basically a waste of money. But so we would throw all of our food away in the back. We'd get to keep any letters or calendar or notebook paper or writing. Pretty much just basically writing stuff is what you're allowed to keep. Everything else pretty much gets thrown away. But so we left and we went into our barracks for the night and it was like nighttime and they're like, all right, hour till lights out. We were cleaning the barracks or something. And so me and this buddy of mine, we had an idea. We were like, hey, we should go back in the day room and see if it's unlocked, which was right down the hall from our barracks, and see if we could get in there and get a couple of those snacks we threw away. So me and my buddy, we went down there and the door was unlocked. We go in the day room, and in the garbage, sure enough, was a bunch of beef jerky, candy, sweets, cookies. So we each grabbed a few things, and we went back into our barracks, and we went into the showers. We grabbed like 2 of our buddies, went into the showers, you know, staying there with our clothes on, and started eating this food. You know, we're eating beef jerky, candy, we're having a good time. And all of a sudden, there was this one guy that nobody really liked. He come walking in there. He heard like the commotion. He heard us like laughing or something. He went to the bathroom. He walks in there and sees us. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" We're like, "Hey, dude, we got some of the snacks. You want some?" He's like, "No, we're not supposed to be doing that." And he's like, "I'm going to go tell the drill sergeant." And we're like, "Hey, you better." And he was already like gone. I was like, "Dude, come on." I was like, "It's not that big of a deal. You just, come on, take a piece, you know?" And the kid's gone, and he's going to tell on us. So we're like, "Dude, now crap, let's go." So we put all the stuff back. So actually, I think we had to put it in our wall lockers, or we hid him in our wall lockers thinking we weren't going to get caught. I was like, all right, we can eat more again later. So that kid ran downstairs, told the drill sergeant. The drill sergeant came upstairs, and all of a sudden, they came up to the front. They're like, "Everybody get up here right now. Let's go. Everybody get over here." We all get gathered up there, and they're like, "So who got the food? Who got the food out of the room? Someone let us know that somebody's over here eating food, that they got it out of the day room. Who was it?" Everybody was silent. Nobody said a word, and they're all looking around. Like, who was it? If you don't tell us who took the candy, who took the food, then everybody's getting smoked all night long. So it was quiet for a few more minutes. You know, we all looked around, and finally I raised my hand. I was like, "It was me, drill sergeant." They're like, "All right, get up here. You and a battle buddy, get up here. Everybody else go to bed." So I go up there with my battle buddy, the dude next to me. I'm like, "Sorry, dude, you got to come with me." Well, it was one of the guys that was eating the food with me. So we go up there. Everybody else goes back to bed. And they're like, "Get up here. You know what your punishment's going to be? Now I'm going to make you eat everything that you pulled out of the garbage. I'm going to make you eat each piece of candy, each piece of beef jerky until it's gone. You're going to sit up here and eat all of it." And we were like, "Oh, come on." You know, I was like, I made it seem much worse than it was. So we're like eating it. And I'm like, "Oh, this is so," I was like making a face, but like, really, it wasn't that bad. I'm like eating beef jerky. I'm like, "Oh, this is so horrible, eating beef jerky and eating candy." But that was our punishment. So we ate it all, and it took us like a good half an hour. I mean, there was sticking like chewy Starburst and chewy Skittles, and I'm trying to eat it all. I couldn't even like chew it all fast enough. And we ate all the food, and I thought that'd be the end of it. They said if we didn't own up to it, that when they find out who it was, that they were going to kick us out. And then, you know, I would have got sent home. That was, you know, from basic training. And so after that day, the next day, like, they called again. "Where's the food? Where's the candy guy at?" They called me. They're like, "Grab those big jugs of water and carry those." And I had to carry big jugs of water up everywhere I went. And so like for the next 2 days, I got smoked like nonstop. But after those 2 days, then it ended and it was over with. And you know, there was no more punishment that followed, and that was basically the end. They didn't really harp on it much more after that. And so that's what I mean, just like own up to your mistakes. It was better that I said something, because the kid would have pointed me out eventually anyway, and then I might have got like sent home. Own up to your mistakes. The worst is you might get smoked for a little bit, but just be honest about it, you know, and it's not going to be the end of the world. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you haven't, please like the video. When you guys just hit that little thumbs up button, it helps the algorithm. It helps the YouTube send it to more people. So do me a favor, hit the like button. And if you haven't, please subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Next week, I'm going to be talking about a couple of cool raids we did in Iraq. I mean, we did hundreds of raids, but there's a couple that stand out in my mind. So next week, I'll do a couple raid stories from Iraq. Thank you for watching. Take care. God bless.